This is the problem. So you can try to work within the system, which means you basically patronize it and try to fight against it from the inside, which is a tremendous degree of tension. Or you can be part of the solution instead. But that involves some radical departures. In my opinion, this topic is so huge and so difficult that I would not suggest any radical moves at this point, especially if they're financial. We have a lot to learn about the subtlety of this great topic of Dharma generally, and Varnashram is a subset of that. Maybe some of the observations we've made about these Ayurvedic principles can demonstrate how subtle it gets. There's a lot of work to do, but at least these are the things that the intelligent people should be putting their attention into, because it is the future of humanity. Otherwise, we're just going to forfeit our humanity, and that's mainly what's going to be lost. I don't see a day, frankly, when this great artificial, socioeconomic facade of the new superpower, which is the transnational corporate class. I don't see that this is all going to come crashing down and everybody's going to be hungry as they were in the 1930s in this country. What I do see is that the humanity is going to be increasingly forfeited to keep the thing alive. And that's even worse. Because dharmasya hina pashuti samana. We're like animals without dharma. Is that a satisfactory answer? It's a tough topic, I will admit, and I don't have all of the answers either.
Absolutely, it's a very, very good answer, and sometimes we understand that we have to take some steps, but if you can just lead from your experience, maybe just give few of us, it may be radical, but at least we can look forward to it. We have to go those.
You're asking me for advice about this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I can only tell you what I did. I was in the University of Washington on a PhD track when I just became completely overwhelmed with a profound appreciation not only of the corruption endemic within institutions of that nature, which was supported by my brother-in-law, who is I won't say where he teaches, but he's one of them. And, he confirmed the things that I was starting to see. Meanwhile, I was seeing a tremendous thirst in the American people for real spiritual life. And, I felt that it was possible to give that to them because what Prabhupada has given us is actually so valuable in that way and has helped me in so many ways. So I quit. I joined the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, and now I'm translating and doing that service, and, it's not 100%, flawless sort of choice, maybe I can say, but at least for me it's better, and I think it's better for people at large as well, because maybe I could say something that will make a difference to someone.
If whatever responsibilities we have, as soon as we get rid of those things, we should just come out of this materialistic world and then basically maybe just go and live in Vrindavan.
I'm not saying that. No, I would not advise that. That's for me, it's good. But I'm done with all this stuff. So, and not everybody's like that. Everybody is different. Everybody requires an individualized solution, and that's exactly what Varnashram supplies, which I believe is why Prabhupada told us to look into it and seriously start, trying to move in that direction.
So, the ashrams are very clearly delineated in our Shastras. So, if we follow, is this Varnashram that Prabhupada talked about? Is it in any way different from the way we have 4 ashrams, and at this age you have this ashram and you...
It is different, actually. For the last 100 years, every acharya in our line has been emphasizing the need for what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur called, or actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur also called, Daivi Varnashram Dharma. Because you have Manava Dharma, which is generally all the Dharma Shastra authorities, they accept and they respect Manu as the representative of this general class of literatures. And in fact, even in the Shruti mantra, there's at least one reference that says whatever Manu says is medicine. So that's perhaps well-founded. But to strictly apply Manava Dharma in the modern day and age is a real problem. And the acharyas have also made a spiritual distinction that we have to keep in the forefront. And that is that, while perhaps using the social infrastructure of the Manava system, we have to ensure that the hetu, how do you translate hetu? Yeah, the motive, or one's own desire, or involvement is based on surrender to Krishna. Varnashram without Krishna becomes the caste system. And that's exactly what happened to India. And, there's so much discontent with it for that reason. Maybe not in this generation because nobody's followed for a few. But, it did cause problems. The point is that unless you have selfless purity at the root of this thing and devotion to God, it's a waste of time, as the Bhagavatam says. Shrama eva hi kevalam. It's just a waste of time, if not an exploitive system just as bad as the modern day and age that we're trying to escape from. You see my point? Is it answering your question?
Yeah, to some extent, yes. Because that means this, the way it is described in our Manu Shastras is that you have certain stages in life where you do certain ashrams and then...
Yeah, this is all in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very clear. I mean, sometimes people feel that Varnashram is, less important than what we call Purodharma or pure Bhakti Yoga. But if that were the case, it would not be in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Bhagavad Gita as well. And not only in one place, in several passages of the Bhagavatam itself, the text of the Bhagavatam. Let me tell you something. In the Vishnu Purana, there are several chapters on this topic, devoted to this topic, instigated by a question that Sagar Maharaj, in the line of Ramchandra, was asking his guru Arafa Muni. He said, listen, I am the king. I have to, these prajas are all my concern. I have to do something to help them spiritually. I want to bring ordinary people in my care to pure Krishna consciousness. This was his concern. It's not a concern that's different from the concerns of any ISKCON member, right? So he said, tell me what to do. And his guru gave him a long, long answer, as I said, throughout many chapters, but one of the verses that is, maybe sums up the general flavor of his instruction is one that's quoted ubiquitously by Srila Prabhupada throughout his books, and that is, Varnashrama charavata purushena parapuman Vishnur aradhyate pungsam nanyat tattosha karanam. For the ordinary person, the access point to pure devotional service is going to be Varnashram. And in that sense, there's no other way to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead except to become civilized through that system, come to the level of humanity, as we were discussing, and then, only a human being can be Krishna conscious. We know that. Animals cannot be Krishna consciousness, and humanity is not defined biologically. It's defined by adherence to dharma. You see? So we have things to learn about that. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Anything else?
I just want to define his question, my proposed question, should we make a goal, in your life, the busy life, whatever we were engaged in, to have, at the end, to renounce life and then settle down in one of the, Mayapur or Vrindavan?
That's a good idea, I think.
Not
While you can, because believe me, these dhams are disappearing fast. Sabhi lupt ho raha hai. I see it, Until just a few years ago, there's a Brahma Kund at Govardhan next to the Mansa Devi Mandir. And, it's just become a big garbage dump, full of green plastic bags, and, you can't even go there and do anything. And there's so many hundreds and hundreds of tirthas throughout Brajamandala, it's very hard to take care of them all. And especially they keep paving over them and building, high-rise condominiums everywhere. And what about the Yamuna? That's a whole, don't get me started on that.
I heard the lecture.
Vrindavan will be software park. They're building a software park there.
There's already a Radharani shopping mall and golf course. I'm not kidding. The Radharani golf course at Govardhan, believe it or not. And now we were just talking the other day, when it used to be such nice Ramanreti, gold dust, the powdery sand, cool to the touch. You know, and now that they've put this tarmac all the way around, it's just turned into a freeway. And you know, it's very, very difficult. You could blister your feet trying to do the parikrama. You see, so therefore I say it's all going aprakata very quickly. So yes, it's a good idea if you want to take advantage of the Dhamma while you can see it. Otherwise, it's going to have to be all mental, mansik, because you won't be able to see anything anymore. This is the point of varnashram as well, or dharma in general, is to make explicit the principles. You see, Dharma Shastra is the single most voluminous body of knowledge that exists in the Sanskrit language, according to Klaus Klostermeier, who's an Oxford scholar, friendly to ISKCON and known to Srila Prabhupada. The reason is that it attempts to take these abstract principles of spiritual life and translate them into concrete, ground-level, day-to-day reality for a human being. And that's not an easy task, because you have to consider the time, place, and the recipients. And that's infinite. Therefore, the Shastras are, you know, they span geographic regions, they go across centuries, and there's many, many, many hundreds of them, but they all basically follow Manu to one degree or another. The thing that we can add to that, or maybe I should say is, you know, the way that we can purify that system is by adding Krishna consciousness to it. And this is what our acharyas have been stressing. Not just Srila Prabhupada. I mentioned how much he was stressing this and how increasingly he was stressing it. But that's because he inherited that mandate from his own spiritual master, who got it from his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it's going back, as I said, to Vishnu Purana. It's not something separate from our tradition. It's a very important instruction of Srila Prabhupada's that I feel we've not really been able to deliver very much on. So that's just my opinion. Anything else? Yeah, ladies' side. No questions? Okay. I'm sorry. Himaja.
One of the things that you mentioned is association, but I think it goes back to the question that Prabhu said. Most of our association is non-devotees. It's really hard to make a difference in our lives, because I feel like we come to these satsang gatherings and we make a
You clear your slate, and then you go back to work for the week, and then you come back in the same filthy... I know, I very well know that. I've been through that. That's why I quit. I mean, I hate to... I hate to rub it in, but the point is that, you know, there's a few things that we can consider. The doha that I had forgotten earlier. Binu satsangana harikatha binu mohana bhaga. Mohagaye binu ramapada vaina dridhanuraga. You cannot have really effective sadhana without devotees. And you know, I was visiting one devotee in Columbus, Ohio. He has a very good idea. You know, he's in this condition as well. We all are. And it's only going to get worse, because what happens? You only get more of what you tolerate. We are enabling abuse in this system. That's why I made a radical step. Anyway, so he has a good idea that as long as this is our condition, for whatever reason, which I won't question or judge, he somehow or other figured out how to get association, even though it's virtually impossible to go to a temple. And let me tell you something, it's much easier to go to the temple here than it is in India. You know this, in the cities at least. Even in Vrindavan, it's really challenging. I mean, India, my God. You can do one thing in one day in India. It's not like you can knock off half a dozen errands in one morning like you can in America. That's just the way it is. So, anyway, so his idea is this. He got everybody together on Skype from within the congregation, and at 5:30 in the morning, they all tune in and they chant japa together. And there's a little pressure there also, because if somebody doesn't show up on Skype, it's evident to the whole community. Just like if you don't come to the temple, everybody notices. So that's, we need a little push like that, and that's actually one of the benefits of satsanga. But in addition to that, you feel a sense of community, and it's reiterated every morning, and it's a tremendous help. Now he also has a Bhagavatam class as well later on, which nowadays there's a security cam everywhere, and there's like City tells you everything you want to know, and there must be some way that you can plug into that as well, even perhaps when you're commuting to work or whatever. There must be a way. These people would know it. They all work there in San Jose. So, these are some things that we can consider. The acharyas, they update this process, with each generation, because it's necessary to do that. The other night I was powering up my computer before the lecture, and I said, please be patient for a few minutes while my talpatra boots up. Used to be they would speak from a palm leaf manuscript, but it's 2014, and we're in Silicon Valley, and so this is the thing. But it works. So this is called yukta vairagya. And this is why we have spiritual masters. They can consider these principles the way the Dharma Shastra does, and they're like living, talking, walking Dharma Shastras, and that's exactly what the Mahabharata teaches us. Dhartiko apratishta. You cannot argue about these things, because everybody's got an opinion. What's the use? Shrutayo vibhinna. Even the Shrutis, what to speak of the Smritis, you will find apparent contradictions, right? Nasa vrishir yasya matam na bhinnam. And when you go to college, you don't get the PhD unless you say something different. So that adds to the new opinions every day. So, dharmasya tatvasya nihitam guhaya mahajano yena